हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यंकरवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणी निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादः शंकरं लोकशंकरं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शंकरं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरं भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ओम नमः शिवाय। 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 नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Dhyana Shloka. मौन व्याख्या प्रकटित परब्रह्म तत्त्वं युवानं वर्षेष्ठान्तेव सदृशगणैः आवृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलित चिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीढे वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णं सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं जनन मरण दुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशयाः। निधये सर्वविद्यानां विषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मीति मूर्तिभेदविभागिनी व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हरि ओम। We shall chant the first two shlokas. Vishvam darpana drishyamana nagari tulyam nijantargatam पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यत् साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोध समये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये। बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगीव यस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदम् श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये। तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये। We are seeing this beautiful Stotram, Shri Dakshinamurty Stotram, written by Bhagwan Shri Adi Shankaracharya ji. In this stotra, Bhagwan not only does namaskar to Shri Dakshinamurti Bhagwan, but he also gives the gist of the teachings of Vedanta. So in the first verse, we saw that namaskar to Shri Dakshinamurti, who is the teacher. And who is the teacher? One who has realized his own true self. One who has done the sakshatkar, the direct experience of his own true self. And what is this self? Self is advayam, is one only. Other than the self, nothing else is there. And this whole world is seen in the self alone, not different from the self. The enlightened person looks at this world existing in his own self. And this world is an expression of his own power called Maya. So through this Maya, the world appears to be born, and for an ignorant person, the world appears to be other than me, appears to be outside. Mayaya bahihi iva udbhutam, yatha nidraya, like in a dream. So what is this Maya? Maya is the great power of that Supreme Brahma. And through this power itself, it projects the world, it sustains the world, and again dissolves the world within himself. So here Bhagwan gives example like a seed. Just as the entire tree is contained in the seed, similarly the entire world is present in the Shakti of Bhagwan. It remains unmanifest, then it becomes manifest. Just as a seed, the tree remains unmanifest and then it becomes manifest. So that is the power, the Shakti. So Bijasyantarivankuro Jagadidam Prag Nirvikalpam Punaha Maya Kalpita Desha Kala Kalana Vichitra Chitre Kritam. And through his Maya, he projects this world of a variety. There are amazing varieties in this world. So Vichitra Chitri Kritam. And how does he do it? Mayavi iva, like a Mayavi, like a magician. Or another example is Mahayogi iva, or like a great yogi. Bhagwan, like a great magician, or like a great yogi, projects the world. And who is forcing him to do this? He says nobody. Bhagwan does it out of his own free will. Swechaya. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namedam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. To that Dakshinamurti, my namaskar. So let us contemplate on this verse a little bit more. So Bijasyantarivankuro Jagadidam Prag Nirvikalpam. So this world which we see in front of us is a manifested world. And after a certain period, it again becomes unmanifest. The entire world becomes unmanifest. That is called pralay. Then after it remains unmanifest for a long time, and again it becomes manifest. That is how the cycle of the world goes on. Shrishti, Sthiti, Laya. Or unmanifest to manifest. It goes on and on. Like a seed, the entire world is present in that supreme Brahma. It is not born out of nothing. In Chandogya Upanishad also, the teacher teaches his own son. He says, Ki Sadeva Saumya Idam Agra Asit. That Sat, Brahma alone was there before this world came into existence in names and forms. It was present as Brahma. And then further the Rishi says that from Asat nothing can be born. That which is non-existent can never give birth to anything. So if the world has come into manifestation, it must have been present before. And it was present before as Sat. So from Sat, Brahma alone, this world comes into manifestation. And how does the world remains in that Brahma? As Sat, in the Shakti, in the very nature of that Supreme Brahma, the world exists as only Sat, just as a seed. The seed is the most amazing thing. For example, if I show you this This apple, a very beautiful apple is there, very sweet if you eat. But from where this apple has come? This apple has come from the apple tree. And from where does this apple tree come from? The apple tree grows in the soil. But why it doesn't grow everywhere? It grows where there is a seed, the apple seed. So there is a seed, the apple seed, a tiny little seed. So amazing. This is the seed of an apple. So if you look at this seed, you will not see any part or anything of that apple in it. Even if you cut it, you will not see any structure of a branch or a leaves or fruits, nothing. It's just a plain homogeneous type of structure we will see. But that is not what it is. The seed has got the complete intelligence. It has got the intelligence, the knowledge to create an apple tree. This tiny little seed in my hand, it has got the intelligence to create an apple tree. Create an apple tree. Not only it can create an apple tree, it can create a lot of apples and it can create seeds just like it, many of them. So the entire intelligence is there in this seed. But the material is not there. The seed doesn't contain all the material to make that apple tree. So that material comes from the soil. So when you put this seed in the soil, it germinates and slowly the apple tree grows, finally to give rise to a lot of sweet apples. So two things are there. The material which makes the tree and the intelligence which converts this material into a tree. That material is called the material cause of the tree. And the intelligence which is required to convert this material into the tree is the efficient cause, the nimitta karan, naimittik karan. Upadan karan, nimitta karan. So, in this entire creation, what is the material which goes to become this world? The material is Brahma. And what is the nimitta karan of this world? That nimitta karan is also Brahma. The material which requires to produce this world is Brahma. And the intelligence required to convert this material into this world is Brahma. So that Brahma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, has infinite and amazing power, which is called Maya, or which is also called Prakriti. So the Brahma is one only. Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma. Brahma, along with his power, which goes to create this world, is called Ishvara, another name for Brahma only. When we talk about the creation, another name is given by the Shastras to Brahma as Ishvara. And as Ishvara, Ishvara says that this is my power, my Shakti, my Maya. In Gita also, Ishvara, as Krishna, he speaks. He says this is my power, Mama Maya. And he also calls it Prakriti. In 7th chapter, Bhagavan talks about his own Maya as twofold Prakriti, the Para Prakriti and the Apara Prakriti. So from this Brahma only, who is Ishvara, this whole world has come into expression. The Shastras also talks about the sequence in which the whole world comes into manifestation. So the first one to be born is Hiranyagarbha. And that Hiranyagarbha has got all the powers of Ishvara. So Hiranyagarbha is born, who has the Panchatan Matras, who has the Samashti Mana, Samashti Buddhi, Samashti Ahankar, and Pranas. So from the Shakti of Bhagavan only, Hiranyagarbha is born. And Hiranyagarbha gives birth to Vaishvanara. Vaishvanara is also called Prajapati. And Vaishvanara further produces the bodies of all the devatas. He produces the bodies of all the plants and bodies of all other creatures. So in this way, the entire world, with all the infinite beings and so many lokas, are all born. And where are they born? In that Brahma only. So there are infinite jivas who are born. There are infinite different varieties of things are there in this world. So all this has come from that Brahma alone, which was existing in the seed form in his Shakti. So Bijasya Antaha Iva Ankuraha Jagad Idam Pran Nirvikalpam. So that Maya is the Shakti, the power in which the entire creation exists, like a tree existing in a seed. So Maya is not something illusory. Maya is not something non-existent. Maya is existing, and it is not different from that supreme reality. See, there are many Vedantins who talk about Maya as non-existing. They even quote some statement, definition, like Ya Masa Maya, that Maya is that which is not there. Or they quote something from other text and all and say Maya is not there. But this is not what is said in our Shastras, and this is not what is said by Adi Shankaracharya ji also. There are many other literature and many other prakarana granthas written by so many other scholars, but they don't match, many of them don't match what is conveyed by Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji in his Bhashya and what is conveyed in the Upanishads. So there are some texts which talks about Maya as both as real as well as unreal. Sannapya sanna ubhayatmikano, vinnapya vinna ubhayatmikano. That you cannot talk anything about Maya as real or unreal or both. But that is also not a proper definition of Maya. Maya is not different from that Brahma. And Maya expresses as this world. So when we talk about Maya as the world, and we can talk about Maya as Brahma also. So since it can be spoken of both as Karya and also as Karana, it is indicated as Anirvachaniyam, as indescribable. Also, Maya is indicated as having three gunas, Sattva gun, Rajo gun, Tamo gun, which are described and explained vividly in many other texts, including Bhagavad Gita. So the whole world is expression of Maya. Many thinkers and many philosophers and many Vedanti, they equate Maya with Avidya. They say that Maya and Avidya are same. Avidya means ignorance. They say that Maya is also ignorance only. Just as we see ignorantly, we see something like a snake on a rope. Similarly, they say that ignorantly we see this world on Brahma. But this also is not proper, and this is not what is taught by Adi Shankaracharya ji, and this is not what is conveyed in the Upanishads. Avidya is totally different from what we call Maya. Maya is the Shakti of Ishvara, and Avidya is the ignorance of the Jiva. I, the Jiva, I'm ignorant. Ignorant of what? Ignorant of my own real nature. I am actually Brahma. But I don't know that I am Brahma. And this world is really Brahma. But I don't know that this world is Brahma. So that ignorance about myself and ignorance about this world which I have is called avidya. And this ignorance is anadi. Anadi means it is there from beginningless time. And what is this ignorance? It is absence of knowledge. It is absence of knowledge in the buddhi. I gain knowledge of the world, of everything, with the help of my buddhi. So when I ask my own buddhi, who am I? The buddhi cannot give me answer that I am Brahma. That answer is missing in the buddhi. So this knowledge that I am Brahma is absent. The knowledge that this world is Brahma is absent. So avidya is abhava-rup, it is an absence. But Maya is bhava-rup. Maya is not an absence, Maya is presence. So the world which we see is an expression of Maya. Our body, our mind, our intellect our senses are all expressions of Maya only. So in this expression of Maya, which is our buddhi, that knowledge that I am Brahma is absent. And because of that, I misunderstand myself to be the body, to be the mind, to be the intellect. And I misunderstand the activities of the body, mind, intellect as my activities. So I consider myself as the doer, the enjoyer, the knower. Also, when I look at this world, I don't see the world as Brahma. I don't know the world is Brahma. So I misunderstand the world also. So that misunderstanding is a product of avidya. World is the product of Maya. Our body, our mind, our intellect, everything is product of Maya. But misunderstanding is the product of avidya. The sorrow which we experience, the suffering which we have, what we call the samsara, is caused by avidya and not by Maya. It is caused by avidya. So this I have been repeating in all my classes of all the different texts, whether I am speaking on Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads. I have been saying the same thing again and again. But the knowledge is such that even after repeating it, even after listening to it many times, we don't grasp it, or we have some doubts and some misunderstandings. So we have to listen to this again and again and contemplate and comprehend this properly. Also, when we listen to many different speakers, read many different types of books, we collect so many different informations and get confused. So we have to stick to one thing properly. Understand what the Upanishads are conveying, and that is beautifully explained and taught by Adi Shankaracharya ji in his Bhashya. So with the help of Bhagwan's Bhashya, we can comprehend the teachings properly. So Maya is the Shakti of Ishvara, but avidya is my ignorance. As a jiva, I am ignorant. And through the study of Vedanta and through all our sadhana, we have to eliminate this ignorance through knowledge. Through our sadhana, we don't have to eliminate Maya. Maya cannot be eliminated. We have to transcend Maya. We have to look beyond Maya to comprehend that Ishvara. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan doesn't talk about destroying Maya. He talks about transcending Maya. In the 7th chapter, Bhagavan says, Ki Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. That my Maya, which is divine, because it is my Maya, it is not different from me. It is divine and it is Gunamayi. It has got 3 gunas, Sattva Gun, Rajo Gun, Tamo Gun. And it is very difficult to transcend. Jivas find it very difficult to transcend this Maya. But Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Those who surrender to me, they will be able to transcend this Maya, cross over this Maya. So, one has to understand the whole teaching properly. Because when we comprehend the teaching properly, we will be able to reach our destination. We will be able to attain our goal. When the teaching itself is not comprehended properly, our sadhana will not be proper and we will not be able to attain our goal. So here in this shloka, Bhagavan very clearly he mentions that the whole world exists in him as the tree existing in a seed. So bijasya antaha iva ankuraha jagadidam, idam jagat, all this jagat, pran nirvikalpam, it was nirvikalpa, means unmanifest before. It was unmanifest before. Then it becomes manifest. And who manifests this? That Ishvara alone. Ishvara alone manifests this whole world through his Shakti. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Ki maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. That in my presence, my own prakriti projects this whole world. See, sometimes we talk about certain things. I say, I made this with my own hands. So I talk about my own hand as though it is different from me. I say, I made it with my own hands. But really, my hand and myself are one only. Similarly, Ishvara says, I make this world with my Shakti. But that doesn't mean Ishvara and his Shakti are different. Ishvara and his Shakti are one only. In our different Puranas and other literature, it is beautifully presented. Ishvara is presented as Shiva and his Shakti is Parvati. As Shiva and Parvati, as Deva and Devi. So Shakti is not different from Shiva. Shiva and Shakti are one only. Therefore, the Shastras talk about Bhagavan's Ardhanarishwar Rupa. He is half Shiva and half Shakti, shown as half Shiva and half Shakti. Means Shiva and Shakti are not two, they are one only. So Maya Kalpita, so Ishvara gives birth to Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha gives birth to Vaishvanara. And Vaishvanara, taking the the Shakti, means with this power projects the whole world. Maya Kalpita Desha Kala Kalana. So through his Maya Shakti, he projects the entire world. The space, the time, all the material, everything is expression of that Maya only. So though Brahma is one, though Brahma is free from all modifications, all change, in that Supreme Brahma, without Brahma undergoing any modification, any change, the whole world appears. Therefore, his power is like a magic show. Without Brahma, without undergoing any change, any modification, appears like this world. Like the mirror, without undergoing any change, shows the whole reflection. Or like in our dream, we, without going anywhere or doing anything, the whole world appears in us. plays in us and again dissolves in us. In the same way, by the more wonderful and amazing power of that Supreme Ishvara, the world comes into existence. So Maya Kalpita Deshakala, the Desha, the space and time and all the objects. See, in the field of science also, they have done a lot of progress while studying this world. Great scientists like Albert Einstein, before him Newton and other scientists, and even in recent times Stephen Hawking and so many great scientists, they have done so much of research and understood the secrets of this world to a large extent. So Einstein also talked about this space. Previously, it was thought that space is nothing, that things are existing in space, but there is no such thing called space. But Einstein said, no, space is also an object. And space gets affected by matter. When large, heavy mass is there, it affects the space. The space also gets curved. What we consider as this gravitational pull and all, is because of the curvature of the space. Just like if a cloth is there and if you keep something heavy, the cloth curves. Similarly, heavy objects curves the space, like huge galaxies or stars or huge black holes and all curves the space. Therefore, the light which passes or moves in a straight line, it curves when there is some heavy object in between. They could study this and understand this even during the solar eclipse and all. They could study the phenomena of how the light gets affected by heavy objects and all. So the space is very mysterious. When two black holes also meet, they join, they create so much disturbance in the space that space also starts vibrating. And that vibration can be calculated, can be calibrated also, which they call gravitational waves. Gravitational waves, very interesting. Einstein had talked about it 100 years ago, and recently they did some experiment and they came to know that it is true. What he said is true. So the space is very mysterious, but it's expression of that Maya, Bhagwan Shakti. The most subtle and the most fantastic expression of Bhagwan Shakti, Maya, is the space. We don't see the space directly, but when we see some objects, then with our mind, we can infer the presence of space. Also, through the objects, when we pursue them, we can infer the direction, as in front or behind or up or down, left, right. So dig, that is disha, direction and space, is inferred through our mind. Even animals, they can infer space. When a dog also wants to cross the road, it looks at the traffic. If it sees the car coming and if it sees that it is very far away, the dog also does some calculation in his mind that, okay, if I run, I will be able to cross this road in time before the car reaches here. So he does a lot of calculation in his mind, calculus, trigonometry, and all those things. Even the fish and even some bird, they just dive into the water and catches the fish. They can see the fish swimming in the water, and there is little bit parallax because the fish may be at one point, but it is seen somewhere else because of the refraction and all. But the bird knows, so it dives. In single dive, it just picks up the fish and comes out. So the space is also connected, related to time. If I want to talk about distance, I not only talk in terms of kilometers or meters or miles, but I also talk in terms of time. Somebody asked me, hey, how far do you stay from here? I say, oh, it will take about an hour. Or I say it is about 60 kilometers or 30 kilometers. So I talk about distance, talk about time, because when I see the objects of this world and their movements, I can also infer time. Time is also experienced with the help of my mind. Time is not something which I can see, but I can experience with the mind. Space is also not something which I can see, but I can experience with the mind. So the space and time is the most fascinating expression of Maya. So mysterious. Even after years of research, science is unable to comprehend the complete beauty of this space and time. So mysterious. The stars which we see in the sky, the light from those stars had come, what you call, and reaches our eyes. They had started their journey many, many years ago. So some of the stars which we see have already shifted their position in sky. Some stars are the nearest star other than our own sun is about 4 light years away. Means what we see, if we see that star, we see it as it was 4 years ago. And there are some stars which are billions of light years away. So what we see is the star as they were many light years or many years ago. So the time we look, actually when we look up in the sky at night, we are seeing our past. So time, space, it goes together, and time and space is experienced not by themselves, but only with respect to the objects. Only when there are objects and the moments in objects, we can experience time. By itself, time and space cannot be experienced. So they are very mysterious, but they are also part of the world. So from that Maya only space, time is produced, and from space, time only all the other objects like air, fire, water, earth, everything is produced. And from these 5 elements, all the variety of things and which we see are produced. The details are given in other shastras. Here, Bhagwan is just giving a hint. He's hinting. So Maya Kalpita Desha Kala Kalana. Maya Kalpita. So Hiranyagarbha and Vaishvanara, they just, with the help of this Maya, the Shakti, they just produce this world mysteriously. Like in our electronic, this technology also in our computers and phone and all, mysteriously images are produced. Like I'm sitting here, just few years ago also, this would have looked like a great miracle only, impossible. I'm sitting here in my room speaking to you, and people from all over the world can hear me and see me. Isn't it such a great miracle? My voice is reaching you through this electronic media. My image is reaching you. It's the most fascinating miracle of this world only. So what you are seeing is just an image. So similarly, through this Maya Shakti, Hiranyagarbha, Vaishvanara create this world, which is really Brahma only. Brahma alone appears like this world. Brahma appears like this world. Just like, let me give you example. This is a mouse. But this mouse is made from plastic. So this plastic itself appears like a mouse. It is plastic only, but it is appearing like a mouse. Similarly, this Brahma only appears like this world. But if I don't know, when I have ignorance, if I don't know that it is plastic, I will consider this as a real mouse only. Similarly, because of ignorance, when I look at this world, I don't understand that it is Brahma only. So I look at it as non-Brahma. I consider it as a non-Brahma world, which is wrong. This world is not non-Brahma, it is Brahma only, which appears like this world. Therefore, the Upanishad says, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. In Mandukya Upanishad also in the beginning, it says, Om iti etad, Om iti etad, Om iti etad aksharam idam sarvam. Om, everything is nothing but Om. Om iti etad aksharam idam sarvam. Tasyopavyakhyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi sarvam omkara eva. Everything is Omkar only. What was in the past, what is now, what will be in future, everything is Om. Then further the Upanishad says everything is Brahma. Sarvam hi etad Brahma. Everything is Brahma. Then further Upanishad says everything, that Brahma is your own self. I am Atma Brahma. These three statements convey the entire teaching. That all this what you see is Om. Achha. Then it says all this is Brahma. Okay. Then it says that Brahma you are. I am Atma Brahma. So Maya Kalpita Desha Kala Kalana Vaichitra Chitre Kritam. This whole world is Vichitra. Vichitra means most amazing. Most amazing. As I said, this space and time itself is amazing. And everything, all the matter is a modification of space only. Space itself becomes air, air itself becomes fire, fire itself becomes water, water itself becomes all matter. And all the activities which we see is just a play of time. So the play of space and time itself is all this world. Just as our cinema, we go to see a cinema. What is cinema? It's just a play of what? Play of light and shadow and sound. Like you are looking at my image, it's just an image making sound. So from space and time only the multiplicity is born. But what is space and time? Space and time is not different from Maya. And what is Maya? Maya is not different from Brahma. Maya is Brahma. And who is this Brahma? Brahma is our own self. I am Atma Brahma. So Vichitra Chitri Kritam, this whole world is Vichitra, means most amazing, most wonderful. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, I had quoted this before also, in his bhashya of Brahma Sutra, in Adhyas Bhashya, he talks about this world, how fantastic this world is. Because that Brahma is indicated as one from whom this world is born, in whom the world is sustained, and in whom the world dissolves. That is the Lakshana of Brahma, Janmadhyasya Yataha. So what is the Jagat? Shankaracharya writes in his commentary, कि अस्य जगतः नाम रूपाभ्याम व्याकृतस्य. The Jagat is a variety, multiplicity of different forms and names. Whatever we experience is just different forms and different names are given to them. Nama rupabhyam vyakrutasya. Aneka kartru bhoktru sanyuktasya. And also there are variety of beings are there, jivas. Infinite jivas are there. And those jivas, they perform actions and they get the results. So the play of actions and results are so complex. Shankaracharya writes कि प्रति नियत देश काल निमित्त क्रिया फल आश्रयस्य. That this karma and the karma phala depends on so many laws of time, of space, of cause and effect. I perform an action here and I get the result there. I perform action in one time and I get the result in another time. Or I perform action in one life form and I get result in another life form. And there are different beings who become nimitta to give me the result. It's so complex. So complex everything. And manasa api achintya rupasya. Manasa api achintya rachana rupasya. And even with our mind and greatest of intellect, we will not be able to comprehend this world. It is so very complexly made. Achintya rupasya. Janma sthiti bhangam yataha. And this world, from where it is born, where it exists, and where it again merges back, who is he? Sarvajnat sarvashaktehe karanat bhavati. He is Sarvajna, is all knowing. Sarvashaktehe, all powerful. He is the very cause. And who is he? Tad Brahma iti vakya sheshaha. He is Brahma. He is that Ishvara. He is that Brahma. So most fascinating. More about this we will see in our next class. Next class will be on Friday. We will continue with this shloka. but you please listen to it again because it's a bit subtle and might be different from what you have been listening here and there. So you just try to understand what I am conveying properly, because it's like a jigsaw puzzle. So you collect all these pieces and make the whole picture, and collect pieces from me only. If you get some other pieces from somewhere and try to fit in this jigsaw puzzle, it will not fit properly. Okay? More about this we will see in our next class. Next class will be on Friday. So till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, and see you all on Friday. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Boli Syavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.